This is your application specialist, Mike Emmerich at FREY Municipal Software. Today, I will be demonstrating the new features, improvements, and refinements of the BUCS17 release. This will be a wonderful opportunity to explore and learn how to get more value from your BUCS accounting system. I have a list of items to share with you in today's demonstration, so let's get started. The delete function in fund control has been changed to verify there are no existing accounts for that fund before you delete the fund from fund control file. So if I try to delete the water fund, hit delete one more time, you get a warning message that says the fund cannot be deleted because there are existing accounts for this fund in chart of accounts. So we're just testing to make sure all the accounts are gone before you delete the fund control file. Second thing we did in fund control is add a description under the sequence. So when we click on description, you'll see all the descriptions in alphabetical order, which makes it easier for you to find your funds. The investments in the BUCS release 16 and before has been renamed to fund-based investments off the investment menu under the general ledger section. It basically provides a nice listing of your certificate of deposits or money markets, the date you acquired it, the date due, the interest rate and the principal, and the estimated interest that you're going to get over the life of the CD or money market. If you click on print, we changed the report to fund-based investments report, and that's where you can get a listing either in preview mode by hitting OK in preview or doing it through Excel if you got the data dictionary. So if you hit OK in preview, you get your investment analysis report. Okay. BUCS was always like that in the past, so everything's just been renamed. And to see that via the icon, it's right here under fund-based investments. The next thing I want to show you is accounts-based investments maintenance. And that's off the general ledger menu. Take it down to investments, account-based investments, and then we got our maintenance program in here, which ties to the task pane up here to account-based investment maintenance icon. We have types. We can set up our different types: posting, reconciliation, and journal. So the posting will tie to account-based investments posting, and the reconciliation will tie to account-based investment reconciliation icon here. So in the maintenance program, this is where you can set up your money market CDs, your investments. And if I click on view, you're going to see you can have an ID in here, your description, your type, money market, the agent, the open date, the closing date, the rate, and the status. This investment account is a new account that you have to create. It's a new GL account that can only be reconciled through here or through the investments program, and you can only post through the investments program. You won't be able to post to this 01/13/10/00 through a journal entry. So then when you're posting to this account, it's offsetting it either to your interest account or your fee account. And then down here, you're going to be able to see your transaction history, like your initial money market value was $55,750. The interest that you got was $980. And if you go to reconciliation history, you can see you reconciled it for $56,730. And if you double click, you can see your statement ending balance, investment account balance. And then you see down here your statements in balance, because it ends in 0. Any reconciliation notes that you want to put in here, you can, and any image path that you want to put in here, you can. So this is totally separate from your bank reconciliation that you're used to. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is the investment type setup, where you go into General Ledger Investments, Account-Based Investments, then Types. This is where you click on Add and simply type in the types that you want to deal with, like CD, money market, reserve, savings, bonds, stocks, anything that you have for that. Once you have them in here, then you're going to be able to search for them when you're setting up your investments in maintenance, and then choose from these types. Item number 5, account-based investment posting. And you can get to this program by going to General Ledger, Investments, slide it over to Account-Based Investments, and go to Posting. You can also reach the posting program by using the General Ledger task pane and using this icon right over here, Account-Based Investment Posting. This program can post 4 different types of transactions, which is the initial value, change in value, interest, and fees. I set up a brand new CD with Fifth Third Bank using a new GL account number for the asset account. So I want to show you the posting of that. I'm going to post $5 million to it. So I'm just going to label the investment CD-2015-01, description, initial investment. I'm posting it to May 1st, 15. The amount is $5 million. And then I have to have my investment account number I'm using. So I'm going to post that to investments. And now I'll post it to the asset account that I used, that I created in the investment maintenance program. Now if I want to put interest on the account, I can click on interest, find the CD, May 2015 interest posting, and we'll put $595 in there, no reference number, and then just click OK. There's typically not any fees on a money market, but if there was, you can post the fees to it. And I'll just put $25 on there. So canceling out gives you a transaction list of everything that you did. It's actually not the list, it's just a summary statement. To get a transaction log, you would need to turn on the transaction log in General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, go to GL tab, and click on Use Account-Based Investment Posting Transaction Log. So for now on, I'll get a transaction log. The investment transaction log was actually saved, and you can find it via File, Utilities, and go to the middle of the screen where it says Account-Based Investment Log Reprint. You'll see it right here. We hit OK, Preview, and it gives you the investments posting, very similar to journal entry postings. So you see the initial $5 million, and I posted the interest payment for $595, and then the bank charges for $25. The next program I want to show you is the Account-Based Investments Reconciliation. This can be found on the task pane right here, or it's under the General Ledger, Go down to investments, slide it over to account-based investments, and go to reconciliation. This program is used to reconcile the balance on an account-based investment and the balance on the investment account of the account-based investment to the ending balance on an investment's statement of activity. A reconciliation can only be updated when the statement ending balance matches both the investment account's net investment account balance and the account-based investment's net investment balance. To show you this, we're going to bring up the CD we've been working with. Hit enter to confirm it. The start date is 05/01/15, 5/31/15 because we're in demo data. And the statement ending balance, I did an initial investment of $5 million. I had bank fees of $25, and I had interest of $595. So it's $5,570. And I'm going to click OK. And it's going to show you the statement ending balance, the investment account balance, net investment account balance is all of the $5,570,000. And then down here, it's showing you all this information, and the statement is in balance because it ends in 0. If that did not end in 0, it would not let you post it. So this is very similar to the check reconciliation program. We let you put in any reconciliation notes that you want to put in, and we let you scan the image of the statement that you got in the bank. So once you're happy with that, you click on OK, and then it goes ahead and post, and it shows you the reconciliation report. Item number 7. The account-based investments journal can be used to print a report of transactions posted to the account-based investments. There's option preferences for the account-based investments journal, which can be set up by individual users in preferences. It is located under account-based investment maintenance, under print, account-based investments journals here, and you can access it through general ledger, investments, account-based investments, then journal. Once you get to this is like your general ledger posting journal, very similar. So you're going to search here, bring up your CD that we've been working on, and if you want to put in any investment type ranges, you can. If you need to print the account detail or journal entry notes, you can. Got your status of active, inactive, the months and years, the posting date ranges, posting types, whatever you're interested in. We only did a few transactions, so I can print it all. So I'm going to hit OK, preview. And we're seeing our initial value of the $5 million posted, the interest of $595, and then the $25 fees. For anybody that has the data dictionary, they can send this report to Excel. And you can also set up user preferences for this program. The next item I want to show you is chart of accounts, where there have been a couple changes, and they are as follows. If we go to the assets section and look at the CD that we put in, under the current tab, the chart of accounts has been changed to include fields for the investment ID and the description of the account-based investment that is linked to the asset account by the account-based investments investment account. And that is shown down here. So the account-based investment, here's our investment ID and our description that is attached to this general ledger chart of account number. If the asset account is not linked to an investment, the new account-based investment fields will be disabled. These new fields cannot be edited in the asset account. The routine to test this, if an account can become inactive or be deleted, has been changed to make sure the account is not being used as an investment account, interest account, or fee account in account-based investments. The next item under Chart of Accounts is when a combining account number is entered. The program will now verify if the combining account number type is the same type as the Chart of Accounts type. If the types do not match, a message box will be displayed informing the user of the issue and asking if they want to continue. So if I search on the account number, and this is an asset account number, if I try to put a liability combining account number in there and click OK, and click OK down here, I get that warning message now. So I would say no, and I would correct it by putting the investments in there and then clicking OK, and the complaint goes away. On the asset listing, if an asset account is linked to an account-based investment, the investment ID will show on the comment line. So if we go to print, asset listing, 01-1310, let's preview that. You can see it's saying investment ID money market 12345, and then here's the investment I put in, CD 2015-01. On the asset transaction listing, if an account-based investment has an investment ID, it will show in the comment line on the change log. And you can see that here, investment ID 2015-01. And that's if you had the change log turned on in the system controls under the general ledger tab. The 12th item is in regards to checking accounts, where we added default reconciliation notes that will appear every time you do a check reconciliation. So we can put it something as simple as reconciled by Mike Emmerich, and that'll be brought up each time you do a reconciliation. And the second thing that we added is there's a past reconciliations grid, and if you double click on the item, it'll show you the past reconciliation. And the third thing you can do is when you click on print, you can print the default reconciliation notes on this printout along with ACH information. The next thing I want to talk about is posting analysis print, where an investment ID range has been added, where you can search on it, bring in the ID that you're interested in, and click on additional report line number 3. That has been added, and that will show you the investment ID along with its description on the posting journal. So when we bring up the posting journal, you'll now see the investment ID of CD 2015-01 along with its description of CD at Fifth Third Bank. A preference has also been added. So if we go to Preferences, go to Posting Analysis Print, you're able to click on Additional Detail Line 3 if you always want that to print as a part of your posting journal. The next item I want to show is in Combining Reports, where the Assigned function in Combining Chart of Accounts will show a warning message if there is an account type mismatch. So when you click on the Assign button, and this is an asset account type, if I put in 2100 for a liability, that's where you see it lights up and it says account type mismatch, and you got your warning sign here. Next item I want to show is in budget planning, under budget amendments, where you see total fields at the bottom, where you got total revenue amendments, total expense amendments, and total expense transfers. So now you have totals for these fields. Just to quickly show you this, I'll throw $5,000 in a revenue. And on the expense, I'll throw in $4,000 as a revision. And on the next account, I'll throw in $1,000 and put it as a transfer. So you can see the three total fields being populated here at the bottom. The number of items in this grid has increased from 17 to 23 records. The next thing I want to show you is under budget planning, budget analysis, where we added an option to print account type totals. And what that'll do for us is give you totals under the revenue section and under the expense section. So I clicked on print account type totals, and I'm just going to do it for Fund 1 to make it easy to show it to you. So here's our revenue section, and then here's our new totals line right here. And then it's going to the expense section and showing you the total expenses down in here. The next item to show is number 17, Revised Transfer Plan. And that's in Budget Planning. You go to Revised Transfer Plan. We're now showing a total net change field at the bottom of the screen. Also in this screen, we increased it from 17 records to 23 records, so you're seeing more in the grid. Just to show how that total field works, if I increase the original budget from $31,640 to $36,640, you see it increased to $5,000. If I add another $10,000 to this line item, I'm going to take it to $750,200. As soon as I hit the enter key, it jumps to $15,000. So you're seeing the net change field. It's all being added down into here. Under note types, under the general ledger menu, we added an ID change button. And that lets you change the note type description or title to something different. And we now give you the ability to use up to 20 characters for the note type. So maintenance was originally abbreviated. If I want to change that and spell that out, I can do that, and it will sync this word maintenance with all note types within the system. So that's a nice feature. It's a really nice feature if you found out you spelled something wrong and you want to spell it correctly, and it'll do a system-wide change. On the journal entry program, the detailed description has increased from 30 characters to 44. As you can see above, I already subtracted out 225, employee not in school zone. So before, I would have had to abbreviate that a lot more. Please note that this entire description might not show on the transaction logs or the reports and the complete 44 characters. It might cut off at 30. Some will cut off at 35 characters. The next item I want to show you is journal entry history, where we're showing you in-balance and out-of-balance transactions and the new switches to be able to show that. So you go to General Ledger, Posting, Analysis, Journal Entry History. So with BUCS17, we're able to show you all transactions that are out of balance. And we're able to show you all transactions that are out of balance by fund. Prior to that, everything's marked as in balance. So if there's any mistakes in the past, you're not going to find it through these switches. But from BUCS17 on, if there's anything out of balance, you're going to be able to find it. So if I click on off all of these, there's nothing in the grid. So my question is, are there any out of balance transactions? Click on that. No, there's not. Are there any transactions that the funds are out of balance? No, there's not. Now show me transactions that are in balance and the funds in balance. And it shows me all the transactions. So that's what those switches are for. The next thing I want to show you is item number 21 on the release letter. It's auto reverse journal entries. To get to that, we're going to go to General Ledger, Posting, Auto Reverse. There have been a couple changes to the auto-reverse journal entries, and they are as follows. There's now the ability to show entries that are out of balance, where the posting balance is out of balance, or out of balance between funds. The new checkboxes are out of balance, in balance, fund out of balance, fund in balance. These new checkboxes will then adjust the contents of the history based on these checkboxes. There are new out of balance and fund out of balance columns at the end of each grid row. Any postings in the system before the installation of BUCS 17 will be marked as in balance and fund in balance. So if I slide it over to the right, you're going to see the fund is out of balance column and out of balance column here, yes or no. And if I click on this, everything's disappearing because all the imbalance entries are gone. But this is how you would find the different conditions. Okay. The next feature I want to show you is when a journal entry is reversed through the auto reverse program, the original journal entry history item will now be flagged as reversed by storing the date it was reversed. An auto reversed date column has been added to the end of the history grid. So here's the end of the history grid, and you see the auto reverse date. If I reverse this entry, click on reverse. Now we slide it over to the right. You see the auto reverse date was done on 9/22. And if I double click on it, you'll see the source document and it has the auto reverse date. If I click on reverse again, it gives you a reversal verification. The journal entry has already been reversed. Do you want to reverse the journal entry again? Basically, it's saying you shouldn't reverse it twice. So you should say no. The next thing to talk about is in vendor maintenance. There have been a few changes to vendors, and they are as follows. For tax year 2020, the federal government has made a new form for submittal of non-employee compensation. This form is the 1099 NEC form. In order to accommodate this, a new 1099 type field has been added to the 1099 area on the vendor screen. The available types are NEC and miscellaneous. When the NEC option is selected, the only option in the box number field is number 1, non-employee compensation. When the miscellaneous option is selected, it lists all the other available box numbers. So on the type field, you got NEC and you got miscellaneous. And when it's on NEC, you only got box number 1. And when it's on miscellaneous, you got all these options here. Now, please note that some of the boxes have been renumbered. Box 10 is now box 9, and box 14 is now box 10, and box 7 has been removed. During the 17.0 conversion, if the vendor is set to box 7, the type will be set to NEC, and the numbers change to box 1. The other number changes will also be changed automatically. The next thing that we changed in vendor maintenance is the bulk delete vendors. The user can now specify the number of days of no activity for permanent vendors. The default will be 730 days, which is 2 years. 730 days will also be the minimum number of days of no activity that can be set for the permanent vendors. The number of days of no activity for permanent vendors have a maximum of 9,999 days. The number of days of no activity for temporary vendors has also been changed to have a maximum of 9,999 days. So when you go to this screen, you see these options here in the bottom right-hand corner, the 730 days for permanent vendors and the 90 days for temporary vendors. You can now go to 9,999. The next thing that has changed is the bulk inactivation. The bulk inactivation of vendors had this number increased from 730 days to where you can now do it up to 9,999 days. Vendor 1099 print. When you go to this program, you are given two options: to print the 1099 NEC form or to print the 1099 miscellaneous form. Depending on which option is selected, the appropriate form will be printed. There is the ability to set a preference for this option, and the default will be set to the new 1099 NEC form. The next item is vendor labels. If we go to print and go to labels, the new option is at the very bottom of the screen, and it's manually select labels to print. And this will give you, the user, after you check everything above what you want to print, it will send you to a grid that will give you a list of vendors. And if there's a few vendors that you might not want to print a label for, you could unselect it. And then when you click OK, it'll print all the other vendors. You also have the option of select none, and then picking what you want, or select all, and then clicking OK. If you like that option of manually select labels to print, there is a preference. So you can go to Preferences, go to Payables, then Vendors, click on Labels, and click on Manually Select Labels to Print. And that way you'll get that option each and every time you fire up that program. The next item is Invoice Processing. There have been a few changes to invoice processing, and they are as follows. When you go to Invoice Maintenance and you click on Edit on an invoice, or View or deleting an invoice, there's now a View Postings button at the bottom of the screen. If you click the View Postings button, it'll show you any entries associated with this invoice that occurred already. I'm on a cash basis, so there's no entries that occurred. If you're on accrual, typically you'll see a debit to the expense and credit to accounts payable. The next option we added is when you go into Delete and you're selectively deleting, we added a record count field at the bottom left-hand corner and the total amount that you're deleting from the invoices. So here it is down here, dollar total deleted, records deleted. So as I click items, you're going to see the invoice amount and be put down here and the number of records. So there's green office supply, we're up to 2 records deleted, 590. If I delete all of them, micro supplies was added, making it 3, $710. If I change my mind, I can say select none, it all gets zeroed out, check marks go away, and I can go back and hit cancel. And the third item that was added in here, the description field, or actually the detailed description field on the general ledger accounts, this has been increased from 30 characters to 44 characters. So some people were needing a little bit more room to describe what's going on each and every line item. You can do that, and this appears on your posting analysis print program. The encumbrance maintenance program has been altered to allow the detailed description line on every one of these GL line items, and it was increased from 30 characters to 44 characters. Many people said they needed the extra space to be a little bit more descriptive. So on this example, we put toner cartridge for HP laser printer, and on the next one we put HP color laser printer for Mike Emmerich. So it just lets you add a little bit more description along with your original description of office equipment, and you're breaking it down by line item. There have been a couple changes in the check reconciliation program. When you go into the program, you will now notice that the screen has been made longer and wider to now show more information. The other thing that was changed is in the deposits. If you do a right click on a deposit and click on deposit information, if you scroll to the right, you will now see a control number that makes up those journal entries. The next item is item number 28 on the release letter, check register history. A liquidation field has been added to the check register history program. It will print either entire or partial if the transaction affects an encumbrance. So if we go over here to payables, check register history, just going to hit OK and preview. And let's zip down to page 4. And here's your liquidation field right here. And you can see on the consulting services that purchase order was partially liquidated. And on macro supplies, this purchase order was entirely liquidated. So we added the liquidation field to the history program. Before that was missing in BUCS 16 and before, and I thought that was needed. Item 29, bank reconciliation. When performing a bank reconciliation via check reconciliation, you click on reconcile. If the BUCS total cash balance from the previous reconciliation is changed, a button will become visible at the bottom of the screen that can be pressed to see the difference. The title of this button is "The Total Cash Balance from Previous Reconciliation has changed." When this button is pressed, a screen will be displayed that will show what the previous reconciliation total cash balance was when the reconciliation was posted, along with the calculated previous total current cash balance. The calculated previous total current cash balance amount is what the total cash balance would be if the previous reconciliation was run again. Generally, this amount would only be different if a prior period journal entry occurred that affected the cash balance, but other transactions could also affect this number. In order to get this recalculated number, the system is basically having to calculate the BUCS total cash balance twice. So it will cause the reconciliation screen to take a little bit longer to process before the screen becomes active. This new feature will help assist when the out-of-balance situation exists. This information will also print on the bank rec report and show in the bank rec archive. Please note that this feature will only work after the first reconciliation after the BUCS 17 version is installed. And that button would show down in here. The next item is number 30, cash receipts. There have been a few changes to the cash receipts program, and they are as follows. An option has been added to require reference on cash receipts. This option is in System Controls on the AR tab. When this box is checked, when a cash receipt is added, the program will verify a reference number has been added. So to see this, we're going to go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, go to AR tab, and down here at the bottom, Require Reference on Cash Receipts. Along with this new option are options to automatically generate reference number when empty and only generate reference number on update. When automatically generate reference number when empty box is checked, if the reference number is empty, the number will automatically generate when the user exits out of the reference field or when the OK button is pressed. When the only generate reference number on update box is checked, the reference number in cash receipts becomes disabled and a number will get generated at update. This option is used to make sure that no reference numbers get skipped during the adding of the cash receipt. The auditors typically don't like that. The number will automatically get generated each time, and if a cash receipt is canceled, the number will not get generated. The next option we added is a new option to suppress not a revenue account warning has been added to the cash receipts tab. So that option is here. So when you're posting cash receipts and you're not hitting a revenue account, it was giving you a warning. Now it won't warn you if you check that. And the final thing is on the detailed description of the GL account. It went from 30 characters to now 44 characters. Give you that extra length that you might need to describe what's going on with a purchase, or I mean a revenue item coming in. The detailed description for fee receipts has also been increased from 30 characters to 44 characters. As you can see on this line item, double click on it, use detailed description. I got 44 characters in there. Yard sale, October 24th, 2020 from 9 a.m. till 1. Under receivables, fee receipts, journal, we added an initials range, a from and to. So that way you can separate your reports from somebody else's reports. And the initials will show on the second print line. And the title is operator. On the fee receipt history screen, the operator initials range have been added so you can segregate your work on the grid. And on the right side of the screen, a column has been added for the operator initials of who entered the receipt. And if you double click on the receipt, you'll see the operator initials of who keyed it in underneath the month and year. The next option, Edit and Fee Receipts, Clients, Labels, is the ability to manually select labels to print. So if you click on this option, you hit OK, you now have the option to turn on or turn off which labels are going to print. So if you got some labels that you don't want to print, you just turn them off. When you hit OK, everything that's checked will print. There's also the ability to set a preference for this manually select labels to print. So if you like that option, cancel out of here and go into Preferences. Go down here to Receivables, Fee Receipts, go to Client Labels, and then click on Manually Select Labels to Print and click OK. And this will be set up in your user profile. So if another user wants this option, they need to log in as themselves and turn that on. Item 35, AR Customer Labels, also has the manually select labels to print option added. So to show you that, we go to Receivables, Customers, Labels, manually select labels to print. It works exactly the same way the previous program did. And again, you can turn off some of the people to print, click OK, and it'll print your labels for you. If you like that option, you can cancel out of here, click on Preferences, go to Receivables, go to AR Customers, Labels, click on Manually Select Labels to Print, then click OK. Item 36, ARGL Codes. The delete function has been changed to not allow you to delete anything that's being used in the items. So if I go to General Ledger Codes and I try to delete property tax revenue, hit delete one more time, I get this validation warning that the GL code is currently assigned to one or more items. So it's basically just to prevent me from deleting a critical function in the system when it's actually being used somewhere else. Item 37. There have been a few changes to the AR items. So let's go to Receivables, Sales, and go to Items. The first thing is we added the General Ledger Code column and a GL Description column to the grid. The next thing that we added is when you click on Edit, there are now Next and Previous buttons on the item screen, so you can traverse between one item to the other quickly. And the third thing we added is when you try to delete a code, there's validation test. And so on rental monthly, if I try to hit delete and delete again, it's going to stop me from deleting it because it's being used in reoccurring bills for customer number 5. The next item we're going over is an AR reversals. To get to that, we go to receivables, AR receipts, reversals. And I'm going to put in customer number 5 just to show you this. And this is for reversing a cash receipt payment or an AR payment. But basically, additional testing has been added to now verify that items that were on the bills that the original payment was for exist. If an item is missing, a message box will now display indicating the item is missing, and the reversal will not be able to be processed until the item is re-added. So we just put additional testing in here. If there's anything missing as a part of this receipt, you won't be allowed to reverse it. The next item is in fixed assets, and it's the labels within fixed assets. So we're going down to here, and we added the manually select labels to print here at the bottom. I'm going to sort by ID number, then hit OK. I'm skipping the property name, and basically it's going to bring up a grid giving me all my labels that it wants to print. If I want to skip a few of the labels, I can turn them off, then click OK to print. But this makes it easier for you to print just the labels that you want, and basically so you don't waste any labels. The next item added is in the fixed asset posting journal. An option to use a report date or subtitle on the report has been added. So that's under fixed assets, posting journal. Down here where it says report date or subtitle, you can now put something in there such as fixed asset posting report for Mike Emmerich. Hit OK, preview, and now you got a report with your name on it. Item 41, advanced allocations. There is now the ability to have the automatic backup process before the allocations are posted. The setup for this backup is in System Controls on the Backup Locations area. So that's going to be in General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, Preferences tab, Backup Locations, Advanced Allocation is down here at the bottom. So to turn that on, you'll click on Process Automatic Advanced Allocation Backup. And if you ever feel you want to change it to a different drive letter or something like that, you can click on Allow Default Location to be overridden, or just go ahead and type it in there. Item 42, Reports. Many reports throughout the system have been changed to have a Return to this option screen after the report finishes processing option. If these reports have preferences, there are also preferences for this new option. Reports with this new option are the following: AR Age Trial Balance, AR Billing Journal, AR Finance Charge Journal, AR Receipts Journal, AR Regular Trial Balance, AR Unapplied Cash Report, AR Write-Offs Journal, Bank Report, Cash Receipts Journal, Check Register History, Checking Account Summary, Daily Account Activity Report, Depreciation History Report, Depreciation Project Report, the Receipts Journal, Fixed Asset Posting Journal, Inventory Activity Report, Inventory Reorder Worksheet, Inventory Stock Status Report, Inventory Valuation Report, Journal Entry Transaction Report, Paid Invoice Report, Physical Inventory List, and Uncommitted Exception Report. So on this screen here, I'm showing you this option down here at the bottom. So all these reports I just mentioned now have this feature, which I truly like because it's easy to go ahead and set everything that you like. Maybe print something out for a customer range such as 1 through 100. Then you might want to do the exact same thing for 101 through 200, etc. But it keeps all your parameters exactly the way you like it. Item number 43, Indiana Gateway. Options have been added to the revenue account listing and expense account listing programs that are within the chart of accounts. So if we go to General Ledger, Chart of Accounts, click on Print, go to Revenue Listing, and your expense listings underneath. We're talking about these items here: Indiana Gateway, include accounts with gateway information, and you got the option of include accounts without gateway information. So that way you can get a nice little listing of accounts that might be missing the gateway information that should be on there. Then you can go and edit those accounts and put in the gateway information that's needed, so that way you can do your annual report at the end of the year. Item number 43, change paths. And that's in the utility menu under change paths. And we added an account-based investment posting, an account-based investments reconciliation, where you can change the image path from one drive letter to another drive letter, or from one directory to another directory, such as C:/FREY images to I:/FREY images. And that way, everything that's branded and saved under those two programs will be changed to the I drive, because basically we probably ran out of room on the C drive. Item 45, prior year. Changes have been made to give the users the ability to add users and groups to the prior year directory. So I'm in the prior year, so if I go to File, Utilities, and I go to Security, if I click on Add and add a group, I'm allowed to do that now. And if I click on Add User, it lets me do that now. Before, these features were grayed out for the prior year directory. So if job responsibilities changed, tried to go into prior year, you couldn't do it under yourself possibly. So now we're giving you the ability to add a user or group if you needed to, or both. The next item is bulk email. The mail feature located off the file menu has been renamed to bulk email. The last item to go over is cubic refund invoices. There is now the ability to specify the vendor class when cubic refund invoices are created. The vendor class is defined in System Controls at the bottom of the AP tab. So if I go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, Accounts Payable tab, the bottom left-hand corner, Cubic Interface Vendor Class, search for it, and I put in UTIL for Utility Customer, and that is set and locked in, so when it creates vendors, it'll be under the vendor class of Utility Customer. This concludes the BUCS17 release presentation. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and picked up on many items that will enhance your daily BUCS experience. If you have any questions on any of the material I covered in this presentation, please don't hesitate to contact support at FREY. We will be happy to assist.